welcome to This Week on 33rd Street. My name is Laine Higgins, and I'm here with the good old Thomas Munson and everyone's favorite ginger, Colin Henderson. So let's get right into it. This weekend is the final weekend of Ivy play for both the men's and women's basketball squads. So, can you guys tell me what we're looking at for the weekend?
Yeah, well, I'm looking at the men's team, so they're going to be taking on Columbia and Cornell, and really at this point, wins and losses are beside the point. They haven't had a win in God knows how long. Quite honestly, what I'm looking for is just proof that they still believe in themselves, that they still are playing for something, aka Jerome Allen's job, and I think it'll be interesting to see, quite honestly, if he's around at Penn this time next week.
Yeah, you know, McLaughlin for the women's team is definitely not on the chopping block the same way Jerome is right now. He's got a women's team that's looking strong right now. They clinched a spot in the women's NIT. And hopefully they can take an at-large bid in the NCAA if, assuming Princeton doesn't drop a game. Princeton women are still the only remaining undefeated team in the women's side. So that's going to be an interesting game coming up in less than a week now at the Palestra as the season finale.
This weekend, the wrestling team will head up to the EIWA tournament for its annual conference championships. So boys, can you tell me what's at stake for Penn Wrestling?
Yeah, so it's been a really strong season across the board for Penn Wrestling. Definitely stronger than last year. They've low-key snagged 6 All-Ivy spots. That's second in the Ivy League, only to Cornell, of course, an Ivy League powerhouse who has 9. Ideally, though, they want to attain some big-time individual success from a few key grapplers moving forward. Tom, you want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, well, if we're looking purely at Ivy League rankings, then C.J. Cobb is coming out on top. He was unanimous first-team All-Ivy, one of only 2 wrestlers to get that selection. You've also got Caleb Richardson breaking into first-team All-Ivy. I think those are the guys to look out at EIWAs, to be quite frank. I think C.J. Cobb's going to take the title. Only guy ranked ahead of him right now is Chris Villalonga out of Cornell. But he beat them when they faced at Cornell, and obviously the Ivy League writers think that he's better, naming him first-team All-Ivy. The interesting thing is going to be Lorenzo Thomas. He's got Gabe Dean, who's Ivy League Wrestler of the Year and one of the most powerful guys across any weight class nationally at 184, and will Thomas be able to compete with him? Will Thomas even get second? He's ranked 3rd. He's honorable mention. He's not even second-team All-Ivy. This is going to be a big turning point in his season if he can take some momentum in the NCAAs.
It's everyone's favorite time of year at Penn, and that's spring break. And while most of our students are dreaming about green grass and blue skies, the sports editors will be thinking about 2 colors only, the red and the blue.
Yeah, so me and a couple other crazy individuals from DePostum are going to be spending first 3 days of spring break covering Penn Athletics, going down to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania to cover wrestling, New York to cover women's hoops, and as far down as Virginia on Sunday to cover baseball. Should be a lot of fun. Everyone check out DP Sports website, check out our Twitter. We'll update you on, the most important stuff, especially our Spotify playlists on the road. Tom, in the meantime, do you want to fill us in on some of the loose ends going into spring break?
Yeah, so first up, it's swimming and where they stand. You know, the men's season is more or less over, only got NCAAs left, and we know Swanson is a sure thing to make an NCAAs. You know, he's going to be competing for a national championship in the mile. But the big thing is will Schultz get that bid. He's on the bubble right now. What's going to happen? Also, women's lacrosse today had a huge 17-7 win in New Brunswick against Rutgers. That's a Big Ten squad. And, and they're both looking good going into spring break.
Thanks so much for joining us with This Week on 33rd Street. Once again, I'm Laine Higgins here with Thomas Munson and Colin Henderson.
And don't worry, people are only getting in the car with this lunatic because he has State Farm.
It's true. Good lucks.
Oh, that was...